Hi everyone! It is a beautiful day outside. It honestly feels like spring, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to sit down and film my March TBR. For this video, I wanted to come up with something. Oh my goodness. For this video, I wanted to come up with something unique, but also something that you've probably seen other creators do before, but something that I haven't done myself before. I went to Michael's today, got a jar, and wrote a bunch of prompts, and we are going to be using a TBR jar prompt method to pick out my March TBR this month. I've got my drink ready. Today I am drinking a Olipop cream soda. These are my favorite Olipops. If you hear any noise, it's because I have the window open and there's a lot of kids that live in this neighborhood, and so they might be playing because it's so warm out. I'm really excited for this month. I had a really good reading month last month, which you'll see in my February wrap-up that will be coming after this video. I'm excited to see what prompts we get. I think this prompt jar method is going to be a really good way for me to work on my physical TBR and start crossing books off my physical TBR that I might not choose otherwise. That is the video. I'm really looking forward to this. I put probably over like 50 prompts in here. I spent a really good chunk of time today after work writing them, so I'm really excited to sit down, pick them out, see what we get, and talk about all of the books that I plan to read in March. First things first, I want to talk about one book that I'm currently reading, but it's very big, so I probably won't finish it this month in February. So I'm going to put that on my TBR, but it's going to be the first book that I read. So I just wanted to include it in this video in case you guys were curious. But that book is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I read A Court of Frost and Starlight last month, which again you'll see in my wrap-up, but I am now on the last book of the series, and this is a very large book. I think it's over 750 pages long. Like I said, I've already started reading this. I'm only like 50 pages in, but this is definitely going to have to be completed in March, so I'm putting this on my March TBR instead of just like anticipating myself finishing it in February. I just don't think it's realistic, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, especially because it's in a new point of view. I just have a feeling that this is going to make me really emotional. I mean, every single book in the series has like made me unnecessarily emotional. I am just really looking forward to, but also kind of dreading the conclusion of this. I've heard that she's writing another book in this series, and I literally cannot tell you how excited I am for that. Like, that is the thing that I am thinking about the majority of the time. Like, all the thoughts going around in here, 99% of them are about this series, if you are wondering. So yeah, this is the first book on my March TBR. Just wanted to let you guys know. So if you see me reading this in my vlogs or anything, you're not like, oh, well, that wasn't on her TBR. Here it is. Okay, so just a little bit about the jar. I got some stickers today while I was getting the jar also. This is all from Michael's. I just put some like foliage stickers on it. I don't really know how well you can see it, but I just put some stickers with some greenery and made it look all nice. I put a nice one on the top too. I think this month I'm going to choose 7 prompts from here because I have A Court of Silver Flames, which would be the 8th book, and I usually just shoot for like 8 books on my TBR every month. So without further ado, let's start picking the books. Interesting. Okay. The first one is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, the first in a series. Let's see what we've got. I think for this prompt, I'm going to do The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've read the first 2 books of the Natural series by her. It's really quick and fast-paced, and just not a lot of brain power is needed to read those books, and I've heard that this is really similar. A lot of people rave about this series. I know she's still releasing books related to the series, so that could be interesting. But I think this could be like a really quick, fun YA book for me to read. And I really hope this book is going to be as good as everyone says it is, because I have high expectations. So I could see this being like a 4 or 5 star read. I'm gonna put this on my TBR. I'm really looking forward to it. Some of my friends have read this book and always rave about it. For my understanding, this book is about a girl named Avery, and a billionaire kind of leaves all of his like inheritance to her. And so she starts to live in this big mansion that he gave her, but the problem is that his family was disinherited when she kind of got the inheritance, so there's a rift between them, and I'm pretty sure there's like puzzles and riddles and things that they have to solve, And I don't, like I said, I don't know much about this book. This is just like the gist of what I've heard. But if there's one thing about me, I love a good mystery. I love a good puzzle. So I'm really looking forward to this. And it's kind of giving me the same vibes as that one TV show. Maybe it was a book, but then it was turned into a TV show on Netflix or something. I think it's like Series of Unfortunate Events or something like that. Like that's kind of like the vibes that it's giving me. I mean, it could be completely different. Let's be real. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, let's pick our next prompt. Oh gosh. A book that might make you cry. See, this is gonna be tough because I feel like there's a few options here. The thing is that I cry really easily at movies, but books, I think it takes a lot more to make me cry. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's literally words on paper and not like visually happening, if that makes sense. There's one that instantly comes to mind, and that is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I still haven't read this, but this was one of the first books that I got when I was starting to get into reading again and joining BookTube and Book Talk and all of that. I hear all the time that this is a really emotional book and that it made everybody cry, and it's like always in whenever like a booktuber films like a reading sad books for a week, it's always in their video. I feel like this could be a book that might make me cry. I'm pretty sure this is like a sort of like second chance romance, like they used to be really close, the two main characters, and then something happened and then they're not close anymore and they've grown apart, but they still have these lingering feelings. Like I said, it's kind of like second chance, like they still feel a certain way about each other, but there's things that are getting in the way. I've heard this is like deeply emotional. Because of that, I think this could probably make me cry. I'm gonna put it on the TBR, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna trust you guys because everyone raves about this book and everybody says that this book is a really sad book. It looks like I'm about to shed some tears this month. Let's go in for our third prompt. The third prompt is a book you don't remember buying. See if it'll focus. This is gonna be pretty easy because I buy a lot of books and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember a lot of them. So this is kind of almost like a free pick. I feel like we have a lot of YA going on, so I'm going to try to pick something that's like an adult book. For this prompt, I think I'm gonna go with Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I've heard amazing things about this book, and I think that this is going to be a really meaningful book for me. I've had this on my physical TBR for so long, and I really just want to dive in and see what all of the hype is about. I've heard that this writer, Olivia Blake, has like absolutely beautiful writing, and that is something that I absolutely love. I think this book explores a lot of topics that are important, such as like mental health, relationships, you know, how to navigate relationships when one or both of the people in those relationships is struggling with mental health. Yeah, I think that a lot of the topics in this book are important to read about and could be really meaningful. If you can hear all of that going on in the background, I'm so sorry. They're like doing construction. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I don't know specifically what it's about. I know it's a heartbreaking romance and there's a lot of subplots and themes that are important and deep and explore a lot of like pretty significant topics. All right, we're going in for our fourth prompt. Okay, we have a new release. This, I fear, is going to be relatively easy. For this prompt, I'm going to choose Good Material by Dolly Alderton. This is a new release. It's a lit fic. I've heard that it is kind of like about a breakup, but from a male perspective, which I think is really interesting because obviously it's written by a woman. So I am really excited to jump into this. I've heard amazing things about Dolly Alderton and all of her books. I have her other book, Everything I Know About Love, that I'm meaning to read at some point this year. The majority of the reviews that I've read or heard of this book have been very positive. So I'm looking forward to this. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's not something I typically read. I don't reach for lit fic a lot, so I am excited to jump into this. Let's go for our fifth prompt. I accidentally picked like a million. This one is free pick. So now I get to pick whichever one I want, just whatever I'm feeling this month. I'm kind of in a fantasy mood right now because I've been reading ACOTAR, so I kind of want to do like a YA fantasy. I think for this I'm going to pick Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I've literally been wanting to read this since I was probably like 14, I'm not even kidding. But this is kind of like an OG fantasy book. Like I feel like everyone read this and it was really popular when I was in like middle school. So I finally want to get to this book, and I know that a lot of books since then have been inspired by this book, so I feel kind of bad that I'm reading this after books that were like inspired by it. I've overall heard really good things about this series. This is about a society where people are kind of classified based on what type of like blood they have. So they have red blood and silver blood, and the people who have red blood are destined to like serve the people who have silver blood. And so our main character one day finds out that she has some special power, and because of that she kind of has to enter the world of the silver bloods. That's pretty much all I know about this. I don't want to like pretend that I know more than I do and give you a false explanation of what this book is about. I know that Powerless by Lauren Roberts was inspired by this book, so I'm already kind of getting those vibes from the description of the book. I can never film a video without it being a little bit chaotic. I have to get up, let my cat out, let her back in, like it's a whole thing. Okay, we're on the second to last prompt. I'm going to try to pick from the bottom if I can. Oh, interesting. A memoir. Okay, I haven't read a memoir in a while. You know, I might just have to go with, I might be reading 2 Dolly Alderton books this month. I was just talking about how I wanted to read this, so this is the perfect opportunity. This is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is like her most popular novel. A lot of people rave about this book, and it's kind of just about adulthood, being a woman. It talks about a lot of topics like jobs, dealing with loss, dealing with breakups, things like that. So I think this could be a really good and interesting book to read this month, and I think it kind of matches. I feel like if I were going to read a memoir, I'd read it in March, even though that makes absolutely no sense, but for some reason March is giving memoir. Okay, we're going in for our last prompt of the video. Ooh, okay. A fairy tale slash retelling. This is so exciting. I love retellings. I love fairy tales. I love retellings. I think for this prompt, I'm going to choose Cinder by Marissa Meyer. And the reason I'm going to choose this is because obviously Cinderella, but this is another book that has been extremely popular since I was younger and that I have been wanting to read for years. I am excited to start this series. I've heard pretty good things about it. What are you meowing at? Come here. It's about humans and android. It takes place in New Beijing, and there's a plague. I'm pretty sure this series is called The Lunar Chronicles. There's 4 books in it: Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. I only have the first book, so we'll kind of see how it goes. If I enjoy it, maybe I'll continue the series. Yeah, I've heard a little bit of mixed reviews. Back in the day, everyone really liked it, but now I'm hearing that maybe it's not all it was chalked up to be back then. We'll have to see. This has like a kind of interstellar vibe also, on top of like being about humans and androids. Like it's got a little bit of like a space lunar element, if you will. So that could be really interesting. It's almost giving like YA sci-fi. I'll let you know more about this book once I read it, so I'll stop pretending that I know anything. These are all of the books that the TBR jar prompts helped me pick this month. I'm excited. I think this is a good stack of books. I think this is going to be a good reading month, even if I don't get to all of these books. At least if I get to some of them, I'm crossing off a lot off of my physical TBR, which is my goal for the year. So yeah, I will keep you guys updated throughout the month on how my reading is going, and let me know below if you want to read any of these books or if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, if you thought they were good, bad, just fine. Let me know below in the comments. I am excited to read all of your thoughts and opinions about these books. All that being said, that's going to be the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more book videos and vlogs if you're into that. Now I gotta put all these away. That's the worst part about all of this. I'm gonna go spend the rest of the day outside because it literally feels like an April sunny afternoon. I know it rains a lot in April, but I'm being very specific here. It feels like April, but like when it's sunny, not when it's raining. If you get it, you get it, and if you don't, that's fine too. I will talk to you guys very soon in my next video.